little dull because I just look it on the on my mobile, but I think that's good enough. Okay. Now, process costing, as we are looking at, we have already looked at it earlier. We've already looked at it in the sense that we were looking at this is the I think so as we looked at earlier, this was my raw material store. This was my WIP location, and this was my finished goods store. And from here, sales was happening. Now imagine a situation where the WDIP is separated into different buckets or different processes. Then you need to control this separately, this separately, this separately, this separately. So instead of calling WIP, we'll call process 1. Instead of this, process 2, and so on. 4, 5, 6. So that means from process 1, from here it is coming to process 1. Here you add whatever. The output of this is your input for process 2. Whatever is output for process 2 is your input. Whatever is your output for process 4 is the input for 5, and so on. Once it is complete, then it will go to finished goods. This is what is the main thing. Now, the complication starts if there is finished goods. If this is finished, then it goes as complete to this. But there might be some WIP. There might be some WIP. There may be abnormal loss. There may be normal loss. So this is where you need to be concentrating. But concept wise, it is very simple the way I have explained. So the earlier one, when we took as a whole, the entire thing was your process, only one process. From here it went and it went out. Here within the process, main process, there are sub processes. You can look at different areas of production. As a result, you have to, but one problem is that if it is complete in this, then only it will go to process 2. If it is complete in this, go to the next. That is how it gets to the finished good. So we are looking at accounting for each of these processes, wherein it is not just that goods have come and completed. There might be situation where you got, as I told you, WIP, abnormal loss, normal loss, all those things. But one of the most important thing when you do process is your quantity control. Quantitative control first you have to do. Without quantity control, if you do the problem, if you go to values, you will be in trouble. Therefore, when you do process costing, it is like a ledger account. The value, this is process 1, but this is amount. Normally amount, we like, for example, cost records, when we did, it was amount only. But here that is not amount. We have to also have a quantity column. Quantity column. So first we will control the quantity. We will have to analyze the quantity. Only then we go to value. If you are able to understand this, then process is very simple. Process is very simple. So with this background, we will try to understand the theory, then we will start doing the problem. Because with the problem only we will understand it. There's no point in talking theory in this. You have to understand with doing a very simple problem, wherein all these factors are involved. There can be a situation where in this process, third process, there might be not abnormal loss, there can be abnormal gain also. So we have to see how that is to be handled. But most important thing is this. When you do, this is the most important. quantity control. Please take care. If you are able to control the quantity, then it is simple. It is just ledger account. Nothing, I mean, it's like quantitative details, like stock and all that. That's it. Okay. So let's start understanding process. So process is a distinct stage in manufacturing or production wherein raw material is converted to one identifiable form to another. That is what I have told boxes. Process one, if it gets finished, go to finally, it is converted into saleable final product. When the end process, it will go to saleable final product, means finished goods. This is the process. Now, what is process costing? Is a method whereby costs are charged to the process or operation and averaged over the units produced. Average over the units produced. This is mainly used in manufacturing of products like steel, scrap, soap, steel, soap, chemicals, paints, etc. For these, the production process is continuous and output becomes the input and the following process till completion. So if you look at this, what we drew, output of this is input for the next process. Output of this process is the input for the next process. And so on till the end when this goes out of the system to finished goods stores or finished goods control account. Now, having said that, let us look at what is the process loss. It is defined as the loss of material arising during the course of processing operation, that is input quantity less output quantity. Process loss can be normal and abnormal. Normal loss is the loss of material due to inherent and unavoidable reasons. It can be anticipated based on material nature of the operation, past experience and technical data. So that is normal. Most of the time there can be normal loss, but something beyond normal is what we need to look at. That is called abnormal. Now comes abnormal. Abnormal loss is a loss in excess of the predetermined loss. It occurs due to avoidable reasons and cannot be anticipated. That is carelessness of the worker, design, error, etc. This is up to this we will read now, because the next part, which is equivalent production, is a separate thing in which we know. But just we'll cover it for the purpose of theory. So equivalent production means converting incomplete production units into equivalent units. If you remember, did we see anything like this? Did we see anything like this anywhere recently? Did we see anything like this in the recent past? Very recent. What did we see? One of you? Anybody? Any guess? Venus?
And the operating cost yesterday.
Yes. Equivalent students. The similar concept we'll be applying here. Incomplete products, we will assume they are complete. Accordingly, we will make them all, even though it is incomplete, we'll try to make them into completed products and divide it. Same logic. If you have understood that, you will understand this. But there are two types of valuation, FIFO and weighted average. Apart from that, you may have problems where there are inter-process profits. Generally, the processes are regarded as cost centers, that is focus on ascertainment of cost. However, when the focus is on finding profitability involved, then they are treated as profit centers. So these ones, what we are looking at, so this process fellow will say, see, I am giving it at cost. What is my profit? How do I know? I have to get some profit, right? Therefore, for the purpose of just finding out the profit, because if I sell to outsider, he is saying if I sell to outsider, I'll get some profit. Therefore, that profit, please show it so that I can say that I am viable. Otherwise, I will not be known that I am making profit, because some other department may not be making profit. It is bad. Therefore, if you rate everything as cost, then nobody will know who is performing better than the other. In order to give some idea of the performance of each process, the concept of, profit centers comes in. So each is a profit center. As a result, when they send the goods to this, not at the cost, but at the inflated price or selling price that is decided. Selling price is here for the final product, but here they will fix up a price for transfer from one process to another. That is what is the thing. So since the output of the intermediate process are not directly saleable, it transfers to the next process not at cost, but at a transfer price, which may be market value or cost plus percent. The difference in between the cost of each process and the transfer price noted inter-process profit. Is there a problem if this is done? Is there a problem if it is done? Again, this concept we have discussed. Maria, if this is done, is there a problem?
And department account.
Yes, absolutely. So when we did departments, there was a problem. What did we do? Ultimately, we had to create a. So as a whole, if you look at it, they have not done any profit. Only when this goods is sold to somebody else, then there is a profit which is realized. Therefore, all this profit is unrealized profit, and whatever concept that we discussed in department will get applied. How to do it, I'm not going to discuss that, but you need to understand that same concept, whatever is there, has to be taken care here also, that you cannot take in unrealized profit. Is it clear? See, now see, it's all falling in place, because if you start applying these things, see, it's all getting connected. Okay, now we will do the problem, which is the first problem is a very basic problem, but again, it will help you to understand the basics.